Glad you finally decided to show up. What's good? I'm Winston A. Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blurred, and welcome to CPT Reviews. Today, this is the first review of the brand new Netflix show, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Now, for those that have been familiar with me, you've seen me for a while, you've heard that Scott Pilgrim Vs The World is one of my absolute favorite movies.
Flashback.
Scott Pilgrim Vs. The World is one of my favorite movies of all time.
End of flashback.
That movie's old now. I believe, my Shimoda days are behind me, but I believe that came out in 2010. So we're talking about 13 years.
That is correct.
And now Netflix has actually done this anime kind of video game anime styling retelling, sort of, if you will, of the Scott Pilgrim story. I'm going to dive into it again. This is a spoiler review. If you haven't checked it out already, please go and watch my other CPT reviews. In particular, before I dive into the new content of something, I've actually been doing the predecessors for it. So in this particular case with CPT Review, I did my review on Scott Pilgrim Vs. The World and what I love about it so much. But then Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. This is, again, this new show that has just dropped. And already from the jump, I'm loving everything that I'm seeing about it. First of all, you get the original cast back. That, I think, is huge. Obviously, things are going to be slightly different, voice acting versus real acting, but I feel like we're right back in it. And I think that that's a unique way that if you're going to kind of tell the story from its original anchor point, its original starting point, it might throw us off a little bit if all of these actors are 13 years older and they look like they're in their potential 20s or just a little outside of it, versus now these are all grown-ass adults. You know what I mean? Every single person in this cast is either married with kids, or they've been through an entire Infinity Saga, or whatever it is that they've been up to since the beginning. But you're getting everybody from Michael Cera to Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Brie Larson, Chris Evans, Kieran Culkin, Allison Pill, Mae Whitman, Aubrey Plaza, Jason Schwartzman, Johnny Simmons, Anna Kendrick, Mark Webber, Brandon Roth, Ellen Wong. This is one of the most fun, star-studded cast that I think we've seen out of a comic book adaptation film and now show, and to see it kind of go into this animated route, I really, really love that, and how we pick kind of back up where we left off from the very beginning of the movie. Scott's dating Knives, sort of, doesn't really break it off. Sax Babam is getting ready to start playing some more serious gigs. Scott is staying at his gay roommate's apartment, Wallace, played by Kieran Culkin, and I absolutely just love the dynamic between Scott and all of the various people in his life.
I forbid you from dating her, Scott Pilgrim!
Cool, thanks, Julie. Bye.
And you get the same immediate kind of thing. Scott's having random dreams about this dream girl. She's kind of skating through his life. And eventually he ends up at a party, and he meets Ramona Flowers, and their love story kind of goes off. Now, here's the big twist here. This is what was so crazy. So for those that have either already watched my spoiler review, talk on it, or you've seen the movie yourself, I hope you would have seen it at this point, because again, 13 years, incredible film. Scott has to fight Ramona's 7 evil exes, and as she beats each one, then he can actually end up dating Ramona. It's a whole thing. It's very weird, but it's a lot of fun because you get some wacky characters in the form of Ramona's exes. There's a lot of deep diving into honesty in the relationships.
It was just a phase.
Just a phase?
You had a sexy face?
It meant nothing. I didn't think it would count. It meant nothing?
I was just a little bi-curious.
Well, honey, I'm a little bi-curious.
The idea that there are some people that when they date recklessly, and they will date recklessly with other people's hearts, and that is something that gets addressed a lot. The way Scott deals with Knives, the way Scott deals with Kim, who he used to date, the way Scott has dated so many people that Ramona does the same thing. She just kind of blows through her exes, and then eventually, once she gets to Gideon Graves, Gideon treats her like crap. So in this first episode, we go up to the point of Scott meeting Matthew Patel and the first Evil X and having to do this fight. And I'm just jumping right to the end of the episode because, again, with the movie, this great setup, he fights Patel, then he moves on. And then, the story goes from there. But at the end of this episode, Patel throws a punch, and Scott is done instantly. He's KO'd and explodes into change, and not a lot of change, mind you. Oh! Already, I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on? And because on top of that, if you think about it, if we just did a straight retelling of it, that wouldn't necessarily be all that interesting. I don't think you need to rehash something that's already, in my opinion, pretty perfect. So to give us this twist right away, I have no idea where we're going with this. I actually am taking the time to stop in between episodes to record these because I want to have fresh eyes with every single episode instead of trying to binge it all and then come back to it. So all that being said, man, I love already that we're getting like a new kind of twist and a new take to it. Now, what is always interesting is not everybody is always good at going from live action to VO, and vice versa. They're both related acting skill sets, but they are different for a multitude of reasons. I gotta give the cast credit though. So far in this first episode, everybody is living up to their character.
Action Doctor, let's hope there's a heaven, thrilled to be here. Ooh, the game is over too! It's over a second time! That sounds fun!
I'm still getting the same chemistry between Ramona and Scott. Michael Cera really is just kind of killing it. Like it seems like a more laid back version of Scott. He felt a little more manic when he was playing Scott in the live action adaptation 13 years ago, but I feel like Michael Cera has really kind of relaxed into the role, which I think is really great, and it gives us again just like a new little vibe to it. He's still a little, anxiety flying all over the place, but it just seems more grounded. But either way, man, I am really enjoying this. Off the bat, because there's not a lot to talk about right now other than that ending, I'm going to keep this one here. Just a quick, short little burst of a review. I'm going to go ahead and give this a solid 4 out of 5. I think you could bump it even a little bit higher because getting introduced to the animation style and all that, I think it was masterfully done. But I'll just give it a 4 out of 5 because this is, again, same thing with the twist ending. So there's nothing that has happened that I'm just like, oh my God, like it's just, we're right back in it. So I want to jump into this next episode and kind of see where we go from there. But with all that, I want to know what you think. Are you vibing with it? Did you already binge the whole thing? And if so, like shit, like what are your feelings on it? I mean, don't ruin it for people down here because I'm going to do all 8 episodes for y'all to kind of have that discussion together with. But let me know. And if you're new to the channel, man, please be sure to go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'm going to keep bringing you these awesome reviews of stuff that you see coming out in movies. I mainly do a lot of stuff with Christian and Coy over the Christian Harloff channel. So we cover all of the superhero and comic book based movies, which is kind of interesting that we didn't cover this, which is kind of why I'm doing it here. And I'll probably plug that a little bit over on the next Capes and Cows. But yeah, please be sure to check this out. And also on Tuesdays, I do Game Time with Roca. That's a weekly recap of the NFL and sports in general. We go over the NFL games and some of the bigger stories in the sports world. So other than that, man, please be sure check out the other stuff I got on the channel and come back for the episode 2 review of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Until then, I will see y'all next time, man. Peace.